stories from other changemakers designed to motivate you to become the change you want to see in your world. Make sure you join our Changemakers community at runemagnus.com/podcast. And now it is time for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
To set a goal or not to set a goal. That's the whole topic that I want to talk in this particular podcast with Lorin Beller, a beautiful friend of mine that I think we met probably 10 years ago, or even more than that. Yeah, exactly.
13. Yeah.
Yeah. And Lorin is one of those fabulous people that you keep in your heart, you keep in your mind, because you see what she's doing, you kind of like watch what she's doing online, and that's what I've been doing. I've been following her, I've been seeing how consistent she is, I've been looking at her brand, and when I found out that she's just she's launching her new book, I thought, okay, what Lorin is doing is absolutely something that every single change maker on this planet needs to get an insight into. And so I got her on the podcast. So welcome, Lorin.
Thank you so much. What a nice introduction. It's a pleasure to have known you these years. I do the same, follow you, pay attention, and we're so far away and we never see each other.
Nope.
So it's a pleasure to see you in person and be here today. Thank you for having me.
Well, I think what we're about to learn today is something profound, and it's when I reconnected with you, Lorin, the whole thing, what came instantly, were the topic about leadership, goal setting, and maybe doing it slightly differently, and that is with intentions and the powers of intentions. So I'm just gonna go directly into my first question to you, Lorin. What's the difference? And are you either a goal setter or intention setter?
So I am a believer in goal setting, but over the years I've been able to watch this process of goal setting very intimately with clients for 16 years now straight. And when you watch clients and people, I should say, strive towards their goals, and you start to see the patterns of how some people knock them out and some people struggle through them. I see both. I have both. I struggle with some. I knock some out of the ballpark. I cannot help myself but to stop and look at why. And what I've noticed is how people are being when they approach those goals is everything. So the being is the intention. And I don't have people just set goals. I have them set intentions. And I do it every year about this time. We are recording in December. I don't know if you want me to say that or not.
Yeah, that's great.
Whenever you play it. But I feel really strongly about setting goals and intentions, like feeling how the energy of the past year, what was your intention this past year, and where did it bring you? What did you learn from it? And where does it take you next? Are you complete with it? Are you not complete with it, with that energy? I happen to be not complete with mine, my intention this year. I came to that conclusion this morning. So intentions are the way in which we go about making that goal happen. And if we go about those goals begrudgingly, they will be much harder. If we go about those goals half-heartedly, they will be much harder. If we go about those goals, however, with a deep, authentic enthusiasm that we can stop and wrangle up prior to taking action, we now go about them with genuine, authentic, robust energy that the goal then sort of happens in a different way. So intentions matter. And I don't just set one intention. I do set an annual intention for the whole year and over sort of my overarching. But then I set intentions for what I call the 8 main areas of our lives. So I set areas for work. I set areas for personal and spiritual growth. I set specific intentions. So when I'm sitting down at my desk this year, I want to capture the energy of my specific work intention. Just grabbing my newest ones. I worked on them last night. So the intentions are the way in which we go about things.
Yeah.
And goals are, and I am not I'm so much more these days, now 16 years into this process, I'm so much more about the intention rather than the goal.
Yeah.
Because the authentic intention takes us to different goals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sounds like then you're more connected to your why.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that we're not just attaching or going after something because we quote should. We're more connected viscerally. Our body is more connected. So we see things differently. It has a new lens. So sometimes people struggle with their intention, and that's okay. Sometimes they're more attached to the goal, and I say that's fine. And then when they start struggling, I ask why. Why are we doing this in the first place? Let's just get clear. Intentions matter. They matter more than the goal.
I like that. That makes me wonder as well. In the Changemakers, we talk a lot about our energies, and from the Chinese energy philosophy, your vitality, and it makes me wonder if there is a difference between us depending on our energies. If goals are, in my mind, very masculine way of achieving things, whereas intentions for me feels like it's more in the feminine value-based leadership style to go into that more intention bit. That makes me think, have you noticed differences between gender on that?
Yes, big time. And I think we need both.
Yeah.
So I think we need a bit of the masculine to keep us with some rigor.
Absolutely.
And I think that we need the intention to allow us to feel the intuition more.
Yeah.
And to go about it and to be going about the goal with a wider vision, with a wider range of what we see and feel. But that rigor, that masculine rigor, I feel is critical too. Whether that rigor is written down as a goal or if we're hanging on to the intention in a way that has us see and clarify what's next for ourselves. It doesn't really matter. And many people can't do that latter. So therefore they need to write down their goals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this past year, I played with this a little bit more. I played with really stepping into the intention more than the goal. And it had different things happen for me. This year, I'm going to go back and be a little more balanced, but probably still not. I was really like 80% focused on the intention versus the goal. Last year, the year before, I did maybe 50-50. This year, I'm going to try like a 80-20, 70-30, on intention goal. Because I feel like the goal, I was holding it not as tight, and I feel like I need to hold it a little bit tighter, but not so tight that I can't see clearly, because sometimes we hold goals so tight that we squish it and we miss everything around us. And that to me there's nothing the matter with it. And I agree with you. It's a more masculine approach. Doesn't make it better or worse. Look what men have accomplished. Amazing, great things.
Yeah. And masculine and feminine values really don't have anything to do with our gender.
Absolutely.
we might talk about it all, we might be a woman and have all masculine values in me. There might be a man and have very much of a feminine values in me. So, but when you're saying that, I also wondered from this point, and I love how you're setting now, making up for yourself, how your next year is going to be for you, 80-20 rule going there. Do you see within your clients that, how we all go, or most of us fall into the trap of thinking we are supposed to be putting this goal up, or we're supposed to be this, or we're supposed to be that we somehow we're reading out of the society, or reading out of whatever it is in our life, that this is how I'm supposed to be doing, and then I'm accepted, or then things are going to be okay. Do you see people, I'm asking this because I guess that in my mind I'm thinking, if that's the case and then that's not connected to your why, it's difficult to set your intention. Is that?
I would say I see that all too much, and not just in other people, but even myself. Like, what should I be doing next? I ask myself the question, and that question is it gets us riding in the path where everybody is walking, which is a problem in my mind. So I would ask somebody if they're struggling with the should, that should goal. I would ask them, well, why are we doing it anyway? What's the intention? And usually they can find the intention. And then you'll see a misalignment. And that might, if you can get them to stand more firmly in the intention, the true goal may show up, which is the more accurate goal they should be going after. That being said, I really feel strongly about us asking ourselves if we're committed to the goal at a 10. And if you're not committed at a 10, it most likely won't happen. But then I go back and I say, let's go to the intention. Are you committed to the intention as a 10? And if they are committed to the intention as a 10, I have them stay in the intention, because the intention is sometimes harder to do because it feels more awkward. You're sort of playing with a new way of being consciously and authentically.
Yeah.
And that brings up the new goal.
Exactly. Are you committed to the goal, to the 10? And are you committed to the intention to a 10? I think that is a super, super important thing to think about. It really makes you think about, when you're writing down your goals for next year or whatever period you're looking at, is it a 10 to look, on the scale of 0 to 10? Am I 10 committed? Right.
It's gotta be
and even checking how committed am I, and then looking at them afterwards and thinking, oh, I'm only committed to 2, up to a 10.
Well, I can tell you a real story.
Yeah, please do.
About 10 years ago, I had on my goal wheel. And my goal wheel, by the way, I think you can see it's on my wall here. So I take my piece of paper. It's a goal wheel that I have on a piece of paper that when people take the course, they can download it. But I converted it to my bulletin board circle.
Yeah.
So about 10 years ago, I put on my goal wheel to eliminate sugar from my diet. Mm-hmm. And I knew in my should that I was eating too much sugar. Mm-hmm. I knew I was addicted to sugar. I love a sweet after every single meal. I could do something sweet for breakfast, something sweet for lunch, something sweet after dinner. That's me. And I've been like that for 50 years. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say that. I'm now 50. Yeah. So anyway, this past year, I put it on my goal wheel for a few years. And then I finally said, am I committed as a 10? And I took it off a few years ago. And I said, I can't do it. It's not for me. I'm just going to live with sugar in my body. This year, I went and had my blood work done and my sugar was high. My blood sugar was high. Well, my value around my health is extremely high. Mm-hmm. So that was a bonk over the head that said, Lorin, it's now time. I, within about 4 weeks, became sugar-free. It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. It was a should goal that I knew instinctually in my body I should have done 10 years ago. It was too hard, and I didn't do it. But when my health and the value of health became a risky thing, I was committed at a 10, at a 20.
Yeah.
And I no longer drink sugar. I drink under 10 grams or eat under 10 grams of sugar per day. I was over 100 grams of sugar a day.
Yeah. Wow. And that's a perfect example of the difference between, and I think everyone that is listening who has ever written down a goal for a period finds this useful, because I've seen it in my own life. I put down same goal year after year after year after year, and I'm like, am I going mad? What's the matter? Why can't I get there? I do these things, I write them down. But that little thing isn't so little about setting the intention. So do you set like a monthly intention, weekly intention, daily intention?
No, well, I do daily. A meditation for me always is about setting an intention for the day. My morning meditation is about, and that may have something to do with my annual intention. It may not. It may have something to do with one of my intentions within my goal areas. But a daily intention could be about the day and what's on the calendar. So I don't do weekly intentions. I don't do monthly intentions. I do an annual, and then for each aspect of my life, I do which is about 8 or 9, depending on how I set goals. And then I do a daily intention, which can be anything at all, anything.
Oh, beautiful. Now, your book is just out. Can you tell us, and maybe we can, I know this is where we go quickly here because this is a topic that is a hot topic and everyone can really learn from this. But I want people to know about your book, because I think the book, knowing how you do things, I know the book is something that they can really get in touch with. Tell us a little bit about the book and what inspired you to write it.
Well, I've been doing this annual goal setting, either retreat or teleclass, for 16 years now. And I've been saying, I'm going to put this in book form. And it was going to be just an ebook, but it became this cute little book. So we finally decided it was robust enough to publish it as a book. It is called Big Impact. So if you go to Google right now, today, the ebook is available. The actual hardcover book will be out shortly. With either book, there's a link that you can go to on my website to download for no charge. Just as long as you have the book, you'll have the link. You can download the goal wheel so that you can go through, and it just walks you through every step of this goal setting exercise, just simply
Beautiful.
one chapter.
I will put in the show notes, I will put a link so that people can go directly and
awesome.
to buy
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, because I think this is having a big impact, and that's what the change makers are all about. I mean, we're there for leaders who want to drive through positive change in their environment and having a big impact. Definitely, they're making a difference. So I think it's really linked to what we are all about. So on that note, still looking at the time and seeing where we are coming from, Lorin, thank you so much for sharing. I am definitely, for myself, I'm going to look at my goals and check rate myself. Am I a 10 on this one or not? Just that alone, huge amount. It's an aha moment for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Runa.
Spending time with the change makers, because you are a change maker.
Thank you. And I so appreciate all the work that you're doing with your change makers. So keep going, girl.
Thank you.
Was this podcast of value for you? I sure hope so. If so, feel free to share the love and give us your generous review on iTunes, Stitcher, or Spotify. And remember, you can always go to runamagnus.com and find out more about the Changemakers and how we can help you driving the change you want to see in your